I mean, already in my ears, you sound better, but
You saying I have an ugly voice?
very much so. Yep. Rhyme or free, it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad poetry. Good day, and welcome to My Bad Poetry, a podcast where we take a deep dive into my dabbling with poetry between 2004 and 2008, when I was in high school. Each week we hear a selection read aloud for what may be the first time, and we examine it for its historical, philosophical, and literary qualities, always asking, why in the world did I write this? I'm Aaron, and the dull drum that you hear in the background is Dave flicking a tweezer.
Yeah.
And I've been dragging him along on this journey into my old private journal, and I think he's finally taking revenge.
I come for what's mine. No, I don't know.
I mean, tweezer tunes are not really too vengeful.
You've just given me the greatest idea for a YouTube channel. I'm going to pitch up a ton of tweezers and then play songs on them.
Well, I look forward to the theme song done in tweezers.
That's for the next blooper reel.
There you go. Dave, you were so traumatized by last week's poem, you have gone ahead and prepared a poem this week to delay what is to come.
I felt bad because, the audience is clearly searching for good poetry, and they really missed my beautiful poetry.
They're here for you.
They're here for me. So this poem is called Anticipation. Blades stab up from the murky dark. Arrows of green growing by the ton. Animals start from their slumber in the bark. Decay and destruction by power of sun. Happy spring! Appropriate response, sir.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I liked it in a sense.
No, you didn't. If you did, you shouldn't.
Well, it's clever. I mean, it like normally we think of death and decay in fall.
Yeah.
But you're finding death in spring.
Right?
It's very very Lenten of you.
Uh,
You don't like the term Lenten, do you?
Technically, Lenten is the appropriate term for the whole season. It comes from an Old English word being Lencton, and then English people started describing it as Lenten season, and then they thought it was an adjective. So they took the en ending off and just called it Lent.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just knew that Lent meant spring, but
Yeah.
I did not know the en. Okay, well, thank you,
Yeah.
Dave.
Comes from Langton, and then from Old German Lense.
This is
welcome.
why we keep you around.
Yeah, or this is why you need to find a better co-host.
But honestly, your poem has a very Lenten feel to it. The poem that I bring to the table today is a poem titled Love. And it goes like this. Loving someone means you will wait till the trees stand up and walk to your final breath just to see the acknowledgement of your presence. Loving someone means you will go as far as to die for them so they could finally know how much you cared.
Just right off the bat, all I heard was the opening line and loving you.
Yeah, it did cue off a lot of cheesy love songs for me as well. One being Love changes everything.
Nope.
No? Yeah, so first impressions, cheesy love songs.
Cheesy love songs, yeah.
Style-wise, we have here nothing of note.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty definitional.
Yeah, very
Again.
much back to that original style we encountered back in the 2004 poems. This is 2006.
It's a resurgence. That's okay.
Context, I don't have a date on this one. Coming off of Tempt Me Not really doesn't help.
Right?
But I could guess that it is in that February, March timeline. So maybe it's around Valentine's Day. So in high school, in our English class, each year we read at least one play from a very specific playwright. This year we read Macbeth.
Oh, wow.
Till the trees stand up and walk.
Yeah. The forest is on its way.
Yeah. Macbeth cannot die until the forest moves.
No.
That's the only connection I could come up with. I think that is my inspiration.
I do think it's funny because I thought that was like a really poetic line because it's really open for interpretation, and the other ones are pretty straightforward of just like, being with people. But the trees standing up and walking away, it's just like, oh, that's interesting. We can dig into. No, we can't.
No, it was
we really
Macbeth.
Can't.
Yep, it was Macbeth. I mean, you could work Lord of the Rings: Two Towers in there with the
right?
with the Entmoot, but no, I think this was more. I loved that prophecy, and what is his name? McDougal cuts the branches.
It's been a while, man.
Marches the army down. Yeah.
Macduff.
Macduff.
No, Scrooge McDuck.
Got it. Yep.
Scrooge McDuck.
He was the one who killed Macbeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't born of a woman. He was a duck.
Exactly. It's fine.
That checks out. This poem is just so uninspired. It's like the cheesiest of love songs, and the one poetic line that, again, you thought might have been something is just a complete ripoff from Macbeth.
Yeah.
There is nothing here to work with.
I will give you credit, though, that like every love poem is really boring. Every love poem is very boring because they're all just cribbing from the same sources. And I understand, I'm not going to blame you for this one. I'll blame you for every other thing that you've written, but, this one's not as bad as some of the other ones.
Yeah. I think there is something interesting about this idea of waiting for someone to recognize you. I see that there's that one song, what was that? Man at the Corner?
Dear listeners, Aaron is looking for men who stand on the corners. That's me in the corner.
No, it's not.
That's me in the spotlight.
Although that song gives off those same vibes.
A little bit creepy? Yeah.
Yeah. The Man Who Can't Be Moved by the Script.
That doesn't help me at all.
You don't know that one?
I know the script, but I don't know.
Going back to the corner where I first saw you.
Oh!
That's 2009. So that was a fruitless endeavor. But that idea of waiting forever for someone to notice or to come back to you is prevalent within a lot of love songs.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's not really any evidence for that. I mean, it's not like in my favorite musical of all time, Hadestown, there's a common thread that goes through the whole thing of wait for me, I'm coming for you. Or like in Hamilton, wait for it, wait for it. I can't think of any songs that have a waiting element as a part of showing of romantic love. I guess in Hamilton, it's not about romantic love. It's about kind of jealousy.
Yeah.
It's wait for it. I'm going to outlive.
Yeah. Things will fall into my lap. I mean, that is the same kind of sentiment. It's like, if it's meant to be, it will happen. But no, I think I'm trying to grasp at something else. There was another song I had in mind. Yeah, She Will Be Loved by Maroon 5.
Sure.
Was a huge song. I thought that song was like the quintessential demonstration of romance.
Okay.
Again, it's a very like she belongs to someone else, but I've still come around to hang out at your door. I don't mind spending every day out on your corner in the pouring rain.
Sure.
It's that exact same idea that the script tapped into later in 2009, but it's this I will wait.
Right.
And
That's
I
another
will
one,
wait,
isn't it?
I will wait for you.
For you.
Yeah, that's Mumford and Sons.
Mumford. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I think those three demonstrate this like martyrdom for love.
Yeah. I think when we have that mentality, it often becomes about women as property. I'm thinking Jesse's girl. You know, I wish that she was mine.
Yeah, you've cited that before. Is that like a favorite song of yours?
It's not a favorite of mine, but I think it like exemplifies a lot of the cheesy love songs for me. You know, that it's the whole, you know, I see the outside relationship and that's what I want and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And
Yeah.
he gets into that whole complex of I'll do whatever it takes.
So I think, I mean, I disagree entirely with what this premise is.
Right.
I think if we haven't made that clear, the martyrdom around love, being the shining armor who's willing to suffer and die just so someone notices you,
Yeah.
maybe not the healthiest relationship.
I mean, kind of the definition of a codependent relationship.
Yeah, almost a parasitic relationship to find to find purpose in another.
Yeah.
Entirely.
That makes me really sad now. I was just thinking, kind of a cruddy little poem, but now it's just, yeah, it is kind of parasitic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the fun part about this, though, is we can look back on our past and think, oh, I wasn't that, like, cringy. I wasn't that that strange. But I think 99.998% of high school students or middle school students were this cringy.
Oh, yeah.
And are this cringy, too.
Yeah,
like,
I think...
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's the summary of this podcast.
Right. A reminder that we're all a little weird.
Well, I'm not quite sure if this was a podcast episode.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
We gave you 30 minutes last week, and this will be a shorter one. I say that, and then they always end up being 25 minutes anyway. So.
And trust me, if it is shorter, it's because Aaron really milked it for what it was worth. Like,
oh yeah,
there was not better content that he cut out.
Right. What you are hearing is the cream of the crop for this week's episode.
Man, that says a lot.
Maybe this should just be a warning to all of you. We are two pastors who have just entered into the season of Lent.
Woo!
Meaning our creative capacities are kind of set to the max over the next 5 weeks. So if the content of this podcast, which is already subpar, becomes subprime, then we hope you stick around till Easter, and maybe we'll get better.
I promise it'll get better only because of how bad it's going to get.
Yeah, Dave might encounter some lack of sleep here.
Oh yeah, got a little baby on the way.
Woo! Oh, you just announced it to the podcast world. Do you want me to keep that in?
I don't really care.
Okay.
Again, I'm really worried about what your family is going to think about it.
Yeah, so not only is it Lent, but it's also baby on the way for one of the co-hosts.
We'll say guest star.
No,
you're the host.
You are a co-host, Dave.
You're the host. I'm the most important part. We'll just say that. You're the host. I'm the most important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this week we're gonna end with
Hey.
Yeah. What?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, Dave. Okay.
Hey.
Dave.
Yeah.
Being the most important one, I wanted to get your opinion on something.
Thank you.
Good or garbage?
Again, my creative forces are really working here. But I have here an empty can of Diet Dr. Pepper. I came downstairs, which is where I record this podcast, and I saw this can sitting there, and I thought, oh, great, I don't have to bring down a Diet Dr. Pepper. I left one open down here, which would be a weird thing to do anyway. But then I picked it up, and it was empty. And I thought, Diet Dr. Pepper, the greatest soda in the history of all of humanity. And it's empty. And that's what I think about this poem. It's, it's about love, the most important thing that drives all of humanity. But at the end of the day, it's empty, and it's going in the garbage. It'll go in the recycling.
Right. For the sake of the metaphor. You can at Dave at... Actually, you can at the podcast at My Bad Poetry the One. The reason why we have that one is because Twitter suggested that, and I accidentally hit enter before I changed it.
Good work.
I wanted to change it to like My Bad Poetry Pod, but the one was what it defaulted to. So at My Bad Poetry the One, you can follow us and tweet at Dave about how much better other pop choices are.
And that's fine that you're wrong and that I am better.
And you could also email us at mybadpoetry.thepodcast@gmail.com if you have your own bad high school poetry or just embarrassing poetry from whatever era in your life. You can send that in to us, and it might be featured on the podcast, getting the Dave Aaron treatment, analysis thing that we do.
Thing. That is the correct word.
Yeah.
Again, we talk for a profession. Keep that in mind, everybody.
We craft words for our living.
We work so hard on our the speech and the
We're going to end this week with the words of a true poet. This week, coming to us from Andrew Marvell, a poet of the 17th century. This poem is called The Definition of Love.
Huh.
Yeah. My love is of a birth as rare as 'tis for object strange and high. It was begotten by despair upon impossibility. Magnanimous despair alone could show me so divine a thing, where feeble hope could ne'er have flown, but vainly flap its tinsel wing. This is a long poem. I'm going to stop. It's a fun poem because it's a farce of love poetry. Right. And basically fate is fighting against love and has put these two people on parallel lines, never to meet. Though infinite can never meet is the line. And
it sounds a lot like it would fit to a PDQ Bach kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like a My Bonnie Lass, She Smelleth.
Right. Yeah. Apparently this guy, Andrew Marvell, was known for his
wit.
His wit, yeah. This has been My Bad Poetry.
Now go write some of your own bad poetry. I hear a little
What's up,
girl.
bud? I know. Roar is out in the living room. Yep, I'll go get him. Rhyme free, doesn't matter.